My mother worked as a nanny for a wealthy family, having won the favor of the masters. She was permitted to let one of her children be the young master's companion student. My youngest sister, Serena Zhu, said that as the elder sister, I shouldn't compete with her, so she got her wish and went to a prestigious private school. I, on the other hand, continued my studies in an ordinary school. 5 years later, I was on the verge of graduating from university. My sister died abroad, and her body was covered with bruises and marks of abuse. On my way to collect her remains, I got into a car accident. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself on the very day when we had to make that choice in the past. Without hesitation, I chose to be the young master's companion student. My sister, Serena Zhu, watched quietly. Andre's no objection. I knew she had been reborn too, and our lives were reversed once more. My mother called me and Serena Zhu over and said with a beaming face, "The madam said that our daughters are about the same age as young Master Zhu. She asked which one of you would like to be the companion student. The tuition and living expenses will all be covered, and there will also be a monthly allowance." This offer was really tempting. Instead of having to study hard and endure hardships, all one needed to do was to take good care of young Master Zhu. After finishing high school at the prestigious school, one could directly study abroad, and even join the young master's company later. My mother went on and on about all the benefits and finally asked, Amara, "Serena Zhu, which one of you wants to go?" Serena Zhu was eerily quiet. She had a lively and impulsive personality, loved to enjoy herself, disliked hardship, and hated studying. The role of a companion student seemed to be tailor-made for her. In the previous life, as soon as she heard about it, she couldn't sit still and raised her hand, shouting. After the candidate was confirmed, my transfer procedures were quickly completed at the madam's behest. I moved into the villa and started living with Aiden Lu, sharing the same meals and living space. At the age of 15, Aiden Lu hadn't fully grown into his stature yet, but his air of privilege and pampering was already quite evident. He sized me up as I just moved in, his eyes filled with contempt, and asked coldly, "Have you taken a shower?" I understood right away that he disliked might and skin. Serena Zhu had also endured such discommode in the previous life. "Are you a pig? All you know is eating," he said in a mean and sarcastic tone. After taking my last bite of food and wiping the corner of my mouth with the tissue, I slowly replied, "Young master, we're all in the stage of growing up. Eating more can help us grow taller. Are you already 1.8 meters tall?" Aiden Lu couldn't hold his temper any longer and growled, "Get out!" The next day, I went to school with Aiden Lu in the car. In Aiden Lu's class, all the students came from wealthy and powerful families like his. They shared resources and had their own small cliques among them. The clique led by Aiden Lu was the most popular. Wealth was one reason, and their good looks played an even more important role. When I was introduced to the whole class by the teacher on the podium, there was a burst of laughter from below. "Did you just roll around in the mud?" I walked over and put down my school bag. Caleb Gu, who had been pretending to doze off, raised his head. His eyes were sharp, full of hostility. "Who told you to sit here?" "A teacher," I replied and started arranging my school bag on my own. Caleb Gu still stared at me fiercely. When he saw me sit down calmly, he suddenly stood up and kicked over my desk, making a loud crash. I looked at him, smiling with tolerance and helplessness. "It must be hard to control your violent tendencies, right? You've already done a good job, Hen." I went to lift the desk back up after that. I asked seriously, "Do you want to kick it again? You can have another try. But if you kick the desk, you can't kick me, okay?" During the winter vacation, I finally got to go home when Serena Zhu saw me back. Her eyes flickered. She said, "Sister, you've become so beautiful now. The Lu family didn't treat me badly. I used expensive skincare products and wore branded clothes. Teenagers change a lot every day, and I was aware of my own transformation. Serena Zhu, you've become beautiful too," I said as I walked over and stroked her long hair. Her high ponytail swayed gently. "In the previous life, When she came home during the winter vacation, her hair had changed from shoulder length to just above the ears at that time. I was curious and asked her why she cut it so short, because she had always loved having long hair. She just smiled and brushed it off now, in this life. I finally knew the reason. I handed her a new mobile phone and an envelope containing 5,000 yuan. Serena Sue took them and looked at them, saying, "Sister, you can really live a better life than me. But I guess it will be tough next semester. Can you handle it?" She rested her head on her hand and looked at me. Serena Sue didn't have a mobile phone before she felt lonely and was always complaining that studying was difficult. The water heater at home was always broken. The food in the cafeteria was terrible, and Mom was too nagging. I listened quietly until she sneered and said, "Amara, you can live well wherever you are, but I can't." I hugged her from behind and said, "But we are twin sisters, and our fates are intertwined." She replied softly, "You're right." After the winter vacation, she gave me another diary she had written and said, "You have to walk the rest of the path on your own from now on." In the second week of the new semester, a transfer student joined our class. It was the girl Isabella one mentioned in Serena Sue's diary. Isabella one came from a prominent family. She was extremely beautiful and smiled like a little angel. She was childhood friends with a Denlu and Caleb Gu, however. She transferred to a school abroad later and had now come back. Caleb Gu and a Denlu treated her quite differently from others, which was obvious to anyone with eyes. The classmates secretly gossiped about the relationship among the three of them, and I happened to overhear some of it, in which I was even mentioned. When Isabella Wan first heard that I was a Danlu's companion student, she didn't show any disgust. She smiled and took my hand, deliberately saying to a Danlu, "Heisu has such a bad temper, you must have a hard time." I Danlu wasn't angry at all. Instead, he seemed a bit flustered and said, "When did I have a bad temper? Besides, if you think I have a bad temper, then don't be my friend." He was being rather petulant. Isabella Wan was already used to a Danlu like this and managed to soothe him with a few kind words. If I hadn't seen her wipe the hand that had held mine with a look of disgust, I would have doubted whether the Isabella Wan Serena Sue and I encountered was the same person. Fortunately, she was. This arrogant and cruel young lady didn't send anyone to take me to the infirmary. It was the school doctor who found me and took me there. In this life, it was me. All my sensitivity was focused on Serena Zhu, and I was equally insensitive to others. "Young master." I stood up and called out loudly to a Danlu in the front row. Young master, young master." I Danlu was chatting with Isabella Wan and turned around with a look of annoyance. "Shut up, what's the matter?" Caleb Gu, who was sitting next to me, sneered coldly. "Bookworm." "So what if I'm a bookworm? Are you going to hit me?" "Why would I hit you?" "Then forget it," she retorted stubbornly. "You must have worn gloves when you stole it." I shrugged indiferently. "Show me the evidence, young master." "Young master, has someone—" "Shut up," I Denlu said, walking over with a headache and looking exhausted. Look it carefully at S, not her. The girl was about to say something more when Caleb Gu interjected abruptly. "All she does is secretly bring back the fruits from the cafeteria to eat." I didn't feel the least bit guilty and said, "Because they're delicious, and I want to eat more." The teacher and classmates believed me. I looked at Isabella Wan with a cold expression in the crowd and gave a simple and honest smile. In the diary, the most crucial turning point in Serena Zhu's fate was a Danlu's birthday party. Serena Zhu, who had been bullied, isolated, and wronged at school, was struggling to survive. Isabella Wan, who had already trampled her underfoot, showed no restraint in her contempt and malice with her gentle voice and sweet smile. She made Serena Zhu crawl around and bark like a dog at the party and didn't allow her to speak like a human. That was the last straw that broke Serena Zhu's spirit. She summoned up the courage to tell Aiden that she wanted to end her role as a companion student and go home. Aiden sneered and took out the video from the party that day. He said in a light tone, "You can leave, but this video will go viral. A gold digger barks like a dog in public to please the wealthy family, and her face is clearly captured. I remember you have a twin sisters. He won't have a good time either then, I'm sure." At the age of 16, Serena Zhu despaired like David. After that, even more severe insults came crashing down on her. She was tossed about in the sea of suffering. Trying her best to stay afloat at the age of 18, Serena Zhu was forced to be the girlfriend of Isabella Wan's driver, a man in his 30s who happily hurt her. Serena Zhu resisted, reported it to the police, and even tried to run away. She did everything she could think of to save herself, but not once did she succeed. How much pain did my Serena Zhu endure in those 5 years? How desperate was she before she died? Looking at what was written on the last page of the diary, I clenched my thumb tightly. I lay on the desk, crying convulsively, and didn't even notice when Aiden came into the room. Aiden frowned and said, "You look so ugly when you cry." I lowered my eyes, blew my nose with a tissue, and asked sullenly, "Is there something wrong, young master?" "Why are you crying?" Aiden said, scratching his head irritably. "He wanted me to wear a custom-made dress for his birthday party. I refused without even thinking." Aiden was furious and said, "Amara, don't be ungrateful." I focused on reading my book and said, "I'm a companion student, not a young lady. Why would I wear a high-end custom-made dress?" "Young master, studying hard is the best return you can give me. She's my companion student, and I'll prepare the dress." Aiden said. Caleb gave a provocative smile and said, "She can be my companion student too. Stop arguing." Isabella Wan tilted her head and looked at me. "What taste do they have? I'll accompany you to pick a dress this weekend." I smiled naively and refused. "The dress is too expensive. I can't afford it." "Of course I'll give it to you. What were you thinking?" Isabella once said, tapping my forehead with a smile. It was really hard for her, as she would probably want to wash her hands vigorously again. Aiden also agreed. "Go and buy it. I'll reimburse you." Caleb threw the dress bag into the trash can behind him and said, "If you don't want it, then forget it." I looked at him seriously and said, "It's such a waste to throw it away. If you invite me to your birthday party, I can wear this one." Caleb was taken aback, glanced at me, and then lowered his head to play with his phone, saying, "It's not a waste. I'll buy you a better one." This little episode passed quickly. Picking the dress on the weekend went smoothly. Isabella Wan didn't do anything malicious and indeed helped me choose a dress that suited me. Soon, at the end of May, Aiden's birthday arrived. The villa was bustling these days. The servants were busy decorating. The chef was busy finalizing the menu, and I was busy tasting the dishes. I ate very well after having my fill. I couldn't help but wonder, in this life, my situation was completely different from Serena Zhu's. In the previous life, would their malice still be directed at me? On the night of the birthday party, I stood in the corner wearing a beautiful dress. Aiden was surrounded by everyone. In the most dazzling spot beside him were Caleb and Isabella Wan, along with several other young masters and ladies. I watched them quietly, matching their names one by one. Aiden suddenly turned his head, and our eyes turned back and continued talking about something. Most of the people at this birthday party were of the same age in the upper-class society. The social relationships among the young people were also a very important aspect. "Hey, which family are you from?" A boy standing next to me looked at me without any attempt to hide his curiosity. The dress was indeed from an expensive brand, but for young ladies, it wasn't just about the dress. Sparkling jewelry, perfect makeup, soft and delicate skin, and a little bit of sophistication could make them feel at ease in such an occasion. I had no intention of hiding it and told him straightforwardly. And young Master Zhu's companion student. He burst into laughter, attracting a few others. I've heard about it. You're the daughter of the Liu family's nanny. It's true the clothes make the man you do look quite charming like this. Does young Master Liu spoil you so much? He even bought you a dress. I wonder if there's something more between you two. They laughed lewdly, as if they knew some secret relationship between Aiden Liu and me. I was about to call out to the young master when a girl beside me grabbed my arm to stop me. She said to them, "Stop talking nonsense, or you'll be in trouble." These boys didn't take it seriously at all and laughed obscenely. In trouble? What does she want to show us? If she can seduce young Master Liu, she must have something special. Hey, I shouted loudly. Young master? Yeah. Hey. There are people here acting like bullies. I see. Aiden Liu interrupted me and walked over, with a group of young masters and ladies. The girl, who had stopped me, sighed helplessly, gave them a look that said, "Good luck," and stepped back to the outer circle. Aiden Liu asked coldly, "What's going on now?" These boys became nervous when they saw Aiden Liu come into my defense. "We were just joking, there's nothing really going on." Yeah, just chatting idle talk. Facing the crowd watching, I said righteously. A said, "Bet there's an improper relationship between us, young master. I think this kind of rumor, especially this malicious gossip, should definitely be brought to your attention." I seemed to hear Aiden Liu sigh. He said, "You guys, don't you know how to behave in public?" These boys immediately became submissive and apologized with forced smile. "Halabgu," said sarcastically Aiden Liu. "How come all sorts of people can come to your birthday party?" This made Aiden Liu even angrier. He immediately asked the butler to escort those people out. The party ended smoothly. Not only did I not suffer the same insults as in the previous life, but Aiden Liu even stood up for me. It was like a novel about a poor and innocent female protagonist and a cold on the outside, but warm on the inside young master. And the relationship between the main characters was quietly changing. 2 years later, we graduated from high school, and I followed Aiden Liu to the United States. Our relationship didn't change much, except that he got used to my temper and my care. I had excellent grades even in the United States. I was always among the top 3 in my major. Aiden Liu sometimes didn't understand. "You don't have to work so hard. You can still join my family's company when we go back to China, and the salary and benefits won't be bad. I brought you to the United States not to have you perfunctory me with instant noodles." I slurped my bowl of instant noodles without even looking up and perfunctorily replied, "I'll cook you a sumptuous Chinese meal tomorrow, thank you." "Thank you." Aiden Liu went to eat his instant noodles speechlessly. The United States is a very liberal place. So liberal that one's soul seems to be naked. Aiden Liu wasn't a reserved person, judging from his behavior in the previous life. On the contrary, he was a person who indulged in pleasure. Pleasure is a privilege of the upper-class people who have had their wealth and status satisfied since birth, can only seek excitement from other places. Aiden Liu had a chaotic love life, which was probably a common problem among young masters. I accidentally came across a few scenes that needed to be censored a few times as expected. Everyone was very open about it. Aiden Liu was open. The girls he dated were open, and I was even more open. I picked up my laptop and reminded him, "Young master, make sure to take precautions. Getting sick will be troublesome." Then I gently closed the door. Isabella Wan was also studying in the United States. She and Aiden Liu weren't in the same school, so they had fewer chances to meet, but none at all. She didn't become a funny and cheerful young lady. Even though she didn't succeed in trampling me underfoot in high school, she couldn't change her temper. She just found a different way to vent in her own words. She always needed someone to step on. Aiden and Isabella shed their adolescent infatuation and settled into an open relationship, each pursuing their own pleasures. Meanwhile, I buried myself in coursework, emerging only occasionally to stare at my phone. Isabella, pampered by her wealthy family, unshowered with resources, Had a sizable fan base despite lackluster talent. When paparazzi caught her entering and leaving Aiden's place, their relationship became tabloid fodder headlines like, "Childhood Sweethearts," "Perfect Match," and "My Ship Has Sailed," flooded social media. He then snapped at Isabella over the phone after the paparazzi incident. Arguments were routine for their self-centered personalities. Hanging up, he told me. "Amara, canceled tomorrow's schedule." "Got it, Mr. Liu," I replied. Promoted to his executive assistant, I saw Aiden struggle adapting to corporate life one evening, slumped on the couch. He muttered, "And going to Gala Elysium." Named for its hedonistic allure, the event promised an evening of indulgence. As I turned to leave, Aiden grabbed my wrist. I stumbled into his arms. "Amara, do you know how long I've waited?" He sighed. "Waited for what? Are you in pain?" I asked, genuinely confused. He laughed bitterly and released me. "You're too pure. I don't want to taint you. I shower every day, though," I replied earnestly. He went to the gala alone while I headed home, finding Serena still up, headphones on, surrounded by sheet music and a keyboard. I let her be back in my room. I studied files on new enterprises in one group, plotting how to use their rivals against them. As his parents pressured Aiden to marry Isabella, he grew increasingly defiant during meetings. I catch him watching me. One day, he griped, "You're like a block of wood, more like gold. Sir, you should appreciate having a top-notch assistant." I shot back. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. When Isabella Wan came looking for me, it so happened that I was the only one in the office. "Amara." She sat haughtily on the sofa and ordered me coffee. She added, "You take care of him too well." I wasn't particularly moved. Mr. Liu pays quite handsomely. Isabella once sneered. "Don't play dumb in front of me. What thought Sue has for you? Do you think I can't see it? After all these years of going around in circles, you've become the white moonlight in his heart." "I don't understand what Miss Wan is saying," I replied perfunctorily. Isabella Wan stood up, her eyes contemptuous. "I don't think you don't understand. Zhu has been reluctant to get engaged to me because of you. I have to find a way." Then I rushed home. The police were comforting the sobbing Serena Zhu. Amara, I'm scared, woo-woo." When Serena Zhu saw me, she flung herself into my arms, crying with snot and tears. Isabella Wan, standing beside us, had the angriest expression I'd ever seen on her. I could tell she had already cursed the two of us 1,000 times in her heart. According to Isabella Wan's assistant, at that time, Serena Zhu let out a loud scream, stepped back while calling the police, and pulled her hair in a breakdown, shouting, "Don't come near me, you heartless devil. You won't hurt me again." The police were quite helpless in the face of the uncommunicative Serena Zhu said rather euphemistically, "Miss Zhu, perhaps you could take your sister for a checkup?" I smiled apologetically and nodded. "Yes, I will take her to see a doctor. I'm really sorry for causing you trouble." As soon as I saw the police off, I turned around and heard someone calling me. "Amara, what happened?" My Dan Lu's appearance made the situation spiral out of control again. And it was Isabella Wan who lost her temper this time. Isabella Wan had been holding in a lot of anger, and now it all burst out. "Dan Lu, what are you doing here? Coming to your chief assistant's house." I didn't want to be caught in the crossfire, so I carried Serena Zhu back to the room. Serena Zhu had calmed down by now. She was a bit exhausted from crying and whispered, "Sorry for causing you trouble." I gently wiped her face. "It's me who's causing you trouble." After telling her the whole story, Serena Zhu smiled with red eyes. "I knew it. You can live a good life anywhere. Don't think about avenging me, you. Ray, great, and I'm fine." "Sick brother, can't you really tell? They've even given her the victim's diaries. Surely they've all discussed it." Popular comment, more bullet comments. "Don't worry, you know me best. I know what's important," I said. Serena Zhu moved aside a bit, and I lay down on the bed till we held hands and pressed our foreheads together. I murmured. Whether it's the Lu family or the Wan family. Hell, I can't trying to shake a tree for me now, but we're still young. And we have a long time to deal with them. I'm very happy, Amara. I have a talent for music. And so many people like the songs I write. I can be with you every day. The only trouble I have is how to write better songs. This is something I never dared to dream of in my past life. She showed a pure and innocent smile. Let this happiness last, let us do it together. I smiled too. Okay, it will definitely. There was a knock on the door. I tucked the quilt around Serena Zhu and went to open the door. Isabella One had already left Aid, and Lou asked wearily, "Why didn't you tell me right away?" I poured him a cup of tea. Because there was no need. No need? His voice rose a bit. I am your. He faltered and finally sighed. Has Zayu contacted you recently? I nodded honestly. Mr. Fu has invited me to dinner a few times, but since it clashed with my schedule, I had to decline, though I felt really sorry. Denlu laughed. His smile was a bit gloating and a bit empathetic. He looked at me and sighed. What kind of charm do you have? 3 years later, Denlu got over his rebellious phase and had a grand engagement with Isabella Wan. I was still his chief assistant, but what I was involved in was completely different from when I first joined the company. I was in charge of key project management, and my actual power was equivalent to that of a half general manager. Isabella Wan's marketing methods were diverse, and Caleb Gu's attempts to coach employees were also diverse. Danlu was busier than ever, and his irritability made people keep their distance from him. On the contrary, I was very happy. Serena Zhu participated in a singer talent show. Although she didn't win first place, she won the third place. She received more flowers and love. When I got home from work and saw her short hair, I was shocked. Serena Zhu, your hair. Did something happen? In an instant, I thought of many things, like being attacked by anti-fans or having sulfuric acid thrown at her. Serena Zhu wiped the flour off her hands, smiled, looked up to me, and twirled around. Why do you have that expression? Isn't it nice? My fans say I look good with short hair. I relaxed and touched the top of her head. It looks great. Serena Zhu hummed a song and went back to cooking. The drawer that once held the diary now only contained the information of the Lu and Wan groups. I like to go the extra mile in my work, as there is a more convenient way to deal with them before I crush them head on. I won't miss it. So I make a wish every day that there will be big problems in their internal management. I try both scientific and superstitious methods. If you keep thinking about it, there will surely be a response. The phone rang. I looked at the caller ID, and it was indeed Caleb Gu. He had just successfully completed a big project recently, and was very relaxed when he had nothing better to do. He liked to stir up trouble. He even had the audacity to pick me up directly downstairs of the company, saying he wanted to have dinner with me. His news reached Tade and Lu's ears the next day, and he directly asked the security guards to blacklist Kao of Gu's license plate. I'm path like flowing water. When Lu and Isabella One got married at the age of 28, it became a real-time trending topic. 2 months later, I submitted my resignation due to the non-compete agreement. I became unemployed for a while. Serena Zhu seemed to have known that I would do this. She took out a bank card and handed it to me proudly. Spend it as you like. I took it without hesitation. Lu probably thought he had hurt me. He came to find me a few times when he was drunk, but I sent him away like a heartless person. In the 2 years at home, I didn't just do nothing. The connections I had built in the Lu company didn't disappear because of my resignation. They also kept track of Isabella One's movements in real time. When we were 30 years old, Serena Zhu released her 30th birthday commemorative song. I put on my business suit again and went to the Gu company building. In my earphones was Serena Zhu's cool voice. The sky turned from cloudy to overcast before the rain fell. Your umbrella appeared in front of me. When I looked up, I saw a face just like mine. Serena Zhu handed me an umbrella and said, "Call me when you're done. I'll come pick you up." Caleb Gu came out of the company building to greet me. He was clearly taken aback when he saw the two of us. Serenazu whispered in my ear, Amara, are you going to choose him? I smiled at Kale Abgu and turned and pushed Serenazu into the car. Let it be. Both indulgence and observation can be considered a form of cruelty. I will always choose you. Everything is developing in a direction different from the previous life, so what? I know he's different to me, so what? Their evil won't be shown to me, so what? Their feelings for me are changing subtly, so what? And just a snail, hiding a knife in my shell, slowly climbing up the grape trellis, waiting for the grapes to ripen,